Hello, hello, hey ladies. Happy Friday to all of you. This is Christina with the Mamathon Diaries, your productivity coach, here today for a little like a mini lunch and learn, depending on what time it is in your part of the world. I am excited about today's topic and we're gonna not waste any time going in. I have a really amazing potential sponsorship chat today with someone really remarkable. And so, for that reason, I'm not going to be here for a whole hour like some days we have the opportunity to do. If you are new here, if you are just coming into our sphere, I am Christina Garrett. I am very honored to serve the world as a productivity coach for working moms. I have, for the last 10 years, been committed to this work, to loving, nurturing, and really supporting amazing women with doing amazing things. Okay. So I'm going to share this video and make sure it's showing up in all the places today so that we can do our good work. Let me see. I'm going to organize your world too. For all of us who are new here, Mamathon has been going for about a decade now. I have been very excited about the work that we do. I am committed. Where we've tried to continually rinse and repeat a very similar movement, a very similar mission, okay? Which is helping women, especially moms, to be the best that they can be, all right? How we have done that over the last several years has changed dramatically. I'm surprised, even myself, how much this has changed, but we're very committed to the work. I feel like I have the best job in the world. And the women that I work with are seriously dope, phenomenal, incredible human beings. They're just such brilliant change makers, and I am honored to partner with them. Okay. I am going to do some tagging a little bit today as we go ahead and get the process started. For those of you who are just coming in today, we are talking about um, in a way, this is glittery object syndrome. However, I want to know if that new idea that you're working on, that new exciting thing, if this is a God idea or if this is just a good idea that might be for another situation, another circumstance, another season in your life. Okay. I'm excited for this talk, and we're gonna get into this thing. I'm going live on Instagram too for all of my IG girls. Okay, hey everybody. All right, so today we're talking about, is it a good idea or a God idea? Whereas for many of us who are brilliant women, amazing leaders, we cultivate big ideas in these new and exciting spaces. For many of us, we have been struggling through starting something new. Maybe you were like the rest of us, who, or those who choose to go to the vision board parties. You're going to the vision casting. You created your projects. You have exactly in your mind the idea of the woman that you want to be. Okay. You know exactly who that person is. You can see her in your mind. You're cultivating it. You're trying to figure out how in the world are you going to do it? What's going to happen next? How you're going to pivot and all of those things. Okay. And so for that reason, we're going to zero in today on how we can make it happen easier. Okay. Is this a good idea? Is this a God idea? Okay. Or am I just creating some things? Am I coming up with some stuff, okay, to work on, to create, to nurture? Like, am I really leaning into exactly who I said I was going to be? All right. Okay. Hey, everybody on Instagram. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. All right. So let's get down to it. Okay. Is this a good idea or is it a God idea? I have been seeing on the internet, I talk to amazing, high achieving women. Almost all of us are Black and brown women, okay, who are excited about the work they do. They're committed to this work. They're consistently working on being the woman who shows up to deliver value. They're creating ripples in the world. And I am often astonished at how many of us forget how incredible we really are. I am astonished at how many of us forget how incredible, how dope, how phenomenal we really are. I told a couple of my clients this week, I said, "Oh, y'all work my nerves." And they laughed. They said, "Why do you say that?" I said, "Because you guys have accomplished these amazing feats. And it's almost as though we get a sense of amnesia. It's almost like we forget who we really are. How is that even possible? How is it even possible for you to be so significant and you be so influential and have overcome so many challenges that you have still forgotten nonetheless who you are as a person?" Okay. And so we want to make sure today that we're unmasking some of this. Okay. Because I need y'all to go through this entire year. Like, we're in February now. I need you to go through the entire year feeling like you got the smoke. And in the process of us getting creative and feeling resourceful and feeling excited, we can accidentally go and collect some new ideas. Hey, everybody, we can go and collect some new ideas, right? We can start brainstorming on doing some new things. We can start creating this ideal picture in our minds of what success looks like. And we can start to go shopping for new ideas. We can get a little bit of glittery object syndrome where we might not associate ourselves with this, but it's what we're doing. And today I want to unearth 3 reasons why you might say, "Here's this new idea. Let me go do this thing." And it might not be the time. It might not be the season, or the reason why you're going to go and do it might not be aligned. Okay. I am a big proponent for doing your own homework, doing your own investigative work. Okay. I don't live with y'all. I told my mastermind ladies on Monday, I don't live with you guys to be able to see and determine, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? I can't go and hover over you while you do laundry and say, "You know what? You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing." I can't move in with you to determine that. Okay. So while we unearth all of this stuff, let's just ask ourselves, am I doing something that I don't have to be doing? Hi, Lude. Am I doing something that's not aligned right now? Am I going to get an idea that I don't even need to have right now? Okay. And this was spurned from different various coaching calls that I've had this week. Okay. Y'all know I only work with like these seriously incredible women. And they're doing all of these big things, amazing projects, and unearthing some really dope stuff. And I'm like, you're so incredible. How do you not see this as incredible as it actually is? How y'all don't see what I see? And I get to affirm them every single week, like, you're on the way. This is exactly what we're doing this for. Okay. So, good idea or God idea? Good idea or God idea? Sometimes it can be hard to differentiate between which one is which. Let's be honest. Is this idea coming from something God dropped in my spirit, or is it coming from somewhere else? Okay. And I'm going to try to teach this in a few minutes, and we're going to move on with our day because I got some calls. All right. I said, "Oh, I got space to go live today." It's very exciting. Okay. So let's do 3 questions. Is it a good idea or is it a God idea? Okay. And for some of the ladies watching, this might sound a little familiar because I brought this up on our coaching call time this week with multiple ladies. Okay. Is this something where I have spent time with the Lord and He downloaded this to me and it felt like it was the right thing? Because this is where we start to see people start projects and not finish them. Okay. Yeah. This is where we see people start to buy courses, buy classes, get certifications, and then not do anything with them. This is where, no offense to MLM, right? No offense to the multi-level marketing or joining anything, but this is why people come to the meetings and they get excited and they join and then they depart 2 months, 3 months later. This is why some of us start businesses and our businesses don't make it beyond the 27K in a year, like statistically most Black women owned businesses do. Okay. And it's going to be because of these three reasons. If you have an entrepreneur sis friend, share this video with her. Okay. Because a lot of times we're not making significant strides forward because of this, because of these reasons, because of these principles. Is it a good idea, or did God download that to you? How do you know the difference? How do you know the difference? Do I have glittery object syndrome right now? Hey, Janisha. Do I have glittery object syndrome where I want something to be working? I want something to happen magically. And I see this other thing. Usually this is a financial goal, right? Usually we make pivots because of finances. It's hard to stay in the mud, stay in the trenches. It's so much easier to say this business model, this strategy, this plan is the reason why this is not working. Therefore, I need to switch. I need to pivot and go to do something different. Okay, so let's talk about our three questions. Okay, let's talk about our three questions. And I proposed this to one of our coaching ladies this week. I was like, well, I got a question. I'm not saying that God didn't tell you to do this, but let's just do a yes or no. Okay, let's do a yes or no. So, but as we're discerning between good idea and God idea, okay, here's question number one for this new thing you're thinking about starting. Okay, or adding on. Good idea versus God idea. Question number one, if you were feeling completely sufficient in your life, would you start this? If you were feeling completely sufficient, all your needs were met, which most likely they are, all of your needs are met, and this particular business effort plan was working like you wanted it to work. If this were the case, would you feel as though you needed to go and start this other thing? So I'm talking to one of my clients who has her own business and is employed as well, and she was considering adding something else. Okay. And so then I asked her, I said, well, if this particular business baby was doing what you wanted it to do, would you still feel called to start this other thing? If this was giving, right? If this was giving right here, would I still feel like I needed to go and do this? This right here is my aligned thing. This right here is my baby. Okay. I love this. This other thing is just okay. But I feel like I should probably lean over here a little bit because this right here is taking too long to yield fruit. I cannot tell you all how many days I went into the trenches of, oh, I should do something different because it feels like this particular thing is taking too long. This effort, this plan, this strategy, whatever it was, I feel like it's taking too long. So naturally, I need to go and find something else to support what I was already thinking about doing. I need to go find something else. This is how we end up selling insurance and Mary Kay. This is how we end up selling Mary Kay and making candles. This is how we end up doing Mary Kay, candles, and a coaching business. This is how we end up starting all of these random things. Now you sell tumbler mugs that are personalized. This other thing over here won't take so long. So we get this glittery object syndrome, feeling almost like there's a faster way to get there. I should totally go do this over here instead. That won't take as long. I know insurance was doing a thing. Insurance is taking too long. People are difficult. That's why it's taking so long. I'll go over here because, of course, women want skincare instead. Y'all get where I'm going? People are difficult. This is just taking longer than I thought it would. Seems like it's easier. Seems like it'll get me to the destination faster. So we break up, we divorce this one area to pivot over to something else completely different. Let's just own up to the fact, though, that this is what it is. Can we do that? Can we sit with, you know what? This is the habit that I'm creating. Is going always to find the easier thing, going to find the quicker thing, going to find the thing that won't stress me out quite as much. And so we need to ask ourselves, if you were completely sufficient, here is how we learn the difference between a good idea and a God idea. Ask yourself, if I were completely sufficient, if I realized that all of my needs were met and this current business, this current effort that I have been putting so much attention into, if this was working like I wanted to work, would I still feel like I need to go over here and start this? Or would I say, you know what? Even if this was perfect, I would still want this too. There has to be a differentiation. We got to ask ourselves some hard questions. Do the investigative work in your own life. Take that inventory. Ask yourself, you know what? I wouldn't feel like I needed to switch if this was right. I wouldn't feel like I need to jump around if this was right. If I was making the money I wanted to make in my business, I wouldn't feel like this was the next thing I needed. Okay, we got to do that analysis. We have to sit with that. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, the reason we get so messed up with this good idea versus God idea. Are you making the process more complicated than it needs to be? Are you making it more complicated than it needs to be? Inevitably, the human brain is looking for the easiest way to do things. It's also looking for the most complete way to do things. Okay? So you will find yourself coming up with a task. Let's say you got to organize your closet. Let's just start with something like that. You got to organize your closet. There are different ways to organize. You could, sis, just go in there and get the stuff up off the floor, right? You could just go in there and unearth some things and get it together. You also could call a professional organizer to come into your house, and get all the stuff together and build you shelves and a closet and all of this dramatic. They could knock some walls out if you wanted them to. Both of them yield an organized closet, but one of them has substantially more steps than the other. Sometimes on our way to get a result, we want to go the way that has the most drama, the most steps, the most extra stuff. I was coaching one of my clients this morning on like just going live, right? Like just being present in your brand and all this stuff. And she was like, so talk to me about this process of this going live. And I was like, okay. I was like, no, it's just, I usually have something that's on my heart to talk about. I plug in 3 points. We keep it moving, right? And she was like, oh, like it felt a lot simpler to her as a result. And so I was comforting her that a lot of times the human brain just likes to pad things. We like to make it more complicated than it has to be. What if it's as simple as I have an idea and 3 points to push forward during the course of this live, and then we're gonna sign off and go about our business because I still got more coaching calls and stuff today, right? What if that's all that it takes? But something in here and here tends to jumble up the ideas and jumble up all the stuff so that you feel like it needs more. Me doing it like this isn't good enough. I need to knock out walls. I need to build custom shelves. I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to have the closet rack that spans for all my shoes. I need to add all of these extra layers. What if those extra layers are not required? What if you are trying to come up with more things to make it more complex to make you feel better? What if you're adding more steps to the process, more steps to this good idea or God idea because you're nervous about getting to the final destination? I don't really know what's going to happen when I get there, so let me stall. Let me create some more things to put into play. Okay? We got to ask ourselves, like, is this something that I am putting into the equation to make this harder. I say I don't want hard. I say I want ease and flow. Okay. I say I want ease and flow, but in reality, is that what I really am asking for? Am I using glittery object syndrome to add more things to my task? Am I accidentally, but intentionally making this more complicated? We'll go about, okay, listen, this is what you need to do in order to accomplish this. We'll go find 5 more things to put into play to say, I need to do this stuff too. What if you don't? What if you get to just lean into what you always do, figure out how to do it better? What if you didn't need all that extra stuff? I'll give you a good example. I last September or so lost access to my Instagram account. Okay. I had built like 35, I mean, it was like over 3,000 followers over the course of time, which isn't a million, but I mean, I really put some heart into this. Okay. I lost access to this account, and all of a sudden I couldn't post. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do anything. I could send messages, but that was it. So in this process, I was like, okay, this feels challenging. And I had the conference coming up. So I said, well, how am I supposed to fill the conference if I don't even can't promote on Instagram at all? And here's what I got coaching on. This is Christina. I got coaching on. You have exactly what you need right now. You don't need Instagram to fill the event. What if you're going to sell your event out just from your Facebook connections, just from LinkedIn connections? What if that's good enough? I didn't have to go and get all of this extra and have a whole Instagrammable launch, right? In order to make it work. What if it can work right now? And for many of us, we're so tied up in this extra. We're so tied up in, I need to complete all the steps. I need to do all of these things in order to get to this level of success. I need to do all of this. If I'm not doing all of this, then it's not going to work. What if I could take 3 essentials, right? 3 key things to continue to push for this year? Like 2021, maybe 2020, but definitely 2021, I was like, I'm working on my media strategy. I'm working on my media strategy. What if that's good enough? What if that's enough? What if being consistent with this area is enough? And what happens so often is we look for ways to make stuff more complicated. Instead of just going into your closet and cleaning it up, you got to go find a professional. You got to go through the process of finding a professional organizer who has good receipts. You want to knock out closet walls and get custom shelves built and all this extra stuff. Baby, all you had to do was get your clothes off the floor. What if that was enough? Okay. And it's no shade either one. But the question is, are you intentionally going to go and make it more busy, more complicated, adding more steps instead of learning how to do the steps that you have in front of you right now better? Okay. So, number 1, if you were totally sufficient, would you still go with this idea? If you felt complete in every way, would you still feel called to this lane? Okay. Number 2, are you making it more complicated? Are you going to get these ideas, these, extra steps? I saw so-and-so do this on their launch, on their plan, on their strategy, whatever. I should do that too. Or is this actually something like one of the essentials that you need to have in place? How do we streamline everything? I have a newer client who's come in and I'm like, listen, you have a lot of stuff in this space. What if you're already sufficient and all of this is bonus? What could you not do? And we're spending our time together over the next 3 months unearthing what could she not be doing? And how can we make this other stuff better? So that you're not feeling like you're always working or you're not feeling like you're always doing too much. And very often that's how we're leaning in. That's how we're feeling. Okay. That I should go and do the easier thing. So then number 3 is, are you using this idea to procrastinate? Are you using this idea to procrastinate? A lot of us, we do not want to experience negative emotions. We don't want to go through the feeling of, I tried and it didn't work. We don't want to go through the feeling of, this is taking too long and developing patience. We don't want to go through the idea of, it just can't be this simple. It just can't be this simple. Christina just told me to do this. How is this so simple? It has to be more complex. So we go and we find more steps, or in order to avoid feeling some negative things in here, we create more obstacles to the finish line to slow us getting to that feeling. I'm in coaching territory now. We will create more spins, more obstacles, more challenges to get to the finish line in order to not experience disappointment, failure, rejection. I don't want to experience any of those. Fear, I don't want to experience that either. So I will create more steps so it takes me longer. I will create more things so it takes me longer because I don't want to get to the end of this and feel like I failed. So I will work on it, add more steps. I will work on it and criticize my efforts just to put it off some more, to make this time last longer. I will forget that with or without this win, I'm already sufficient. I will forget all of these things and begin to sit in a feeling of, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make it work? I would much rather sit and let my mind spin, forgetting. We will go into this and forget that you cannot troubleshoot anything that you have not completed. You can't troubleshoot what you haven't finished. So how do we make it better, friend? How do we work the system better? How do we create a better strategy if we're not willing to feel some icky emotions sometimes? If we intentionally create paths or blockages to finishing, we can't make it better. We can't tweak. We can't evaluate and fix things if you didn't make it to the end. Like me and one of my good friends who's watching, we do 5Ks every now and then. She probably just laughed. It's been a minute, right? But when we were racing, you would get to the end of the race and they would give you a time, right? Did you finish in 39 minutes, 40 minutes, 45? Did you finish in 30 minutes? They'll give you a time. And if you're smart, you just look to make yourself better. You evaluate your performance. You say, I really struggle going up those hills. I need to work on the hills. You incorporate that into your training as part of that evaluation, and then you go back again to see if you can get it better. Right? But what we will do is we will procrastinate on feeling how we feel when we cross the finish line and you finished in 40 minutes instead of 35 like you wanted to. We don't want to experience that emotion, so we'll just put it off. We will create more and more and more obstacles to finishing in order to not feel that feeling. So how do we move around it? Okay. So here today, we're talking about good idea versus God idea. Number one, if you were feeling completely sufficient, would you start this? If you felt like you had everything you needed, if you felt like you were that chick, if you felt like you were capable and you had all your needs met, would you go and start this new boutique? Would you start that new thing if you felt like you had everything you needed? I'm not shading you if you do. But sometimes we go and do it because we don't feel sufficient and we don't want to go through the process of making what we're doing right now better. I don't want to add anything. How can I repeat this result? How can I repeat to get this same result with half the energy, half the time? That is a vibe, okay? Number two, are you making it more complicated? Sometimes we add more stuff add more steps, add more to the process, right? Feeling like this adding more is going to help guarantee me that win. But what if your mind, your brain is spread so far trying to do all the things on this checklist that you end up spiraling anyway and you still get the same result? Adding more steps does not mean better. Adding more steps does not mean better. Adding more steps might mean worse. How can I do this in the most streamlined way possible, to where I feel like I am getting to the goal that I desire, but without doing all the things? Okay. Sometimes we feel like in order for me to get to the goal, I have to do all the things. There's no option other than that. And then number 3, are we trying to procrastinate on feeling negative-ish? Are we trying to put off the feeling of rejection? Are we trying to put off the feeling of fear, of uncertainty, of failure, like looking at your email and not getting a response back? All of that can really get you in your emotions. All of that can really churn up some things inside of you when you're afraid to feel that. But how do we troubleshoot on what hasn't been finished? How do we go back and look at the results? Look at the good afternoon, everybody. How do we go back and look at the results and the time and the money made and all this stuff? How do we go and say, how do I recreate this again a different way? How do I do this? If it took me 5 steps the last time, this time I wanted to take me 4. Instead of 4 steps, I wanted to take 3. Instead of 3 steps, I just want to send out some emails and that be it. Right? How can I do this better? And so often having multiple steps be having us in a chokehold, sis. You be like, you know what? So-and-so said I needed to do all of this. I must need to do it. Or you're watching 17 different Facebook coaches, all the things. Like when I found my coach, I literally turned everybody else off but her. I turned up everybody else but her. I was not going to cloud my mind with 50 million different opportunities, people's perspectives, all that stuff. Some people, they teach public relations, right? And they're like, okay, well, you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My way of doing public relations is to stalk you on social media, to find you on social media and make a connection. That has proven far more lucrative for me, was to be simple and to focus on relationship. To focus on relationship. Okay. So some of us, in order to prolong the feeling of rejection, or I didn't get what I wanted, or this didn't turn out the way I wanted, whatever that is, in order to prolong feeling that, we stuff more stuff into our list. We put more and more and more things into those spaces just so I don't have to feel the immense discomfort that comes with feeling those feelings. Okay. I had to be okay with, I had to sit with, Christina, are you adding this? Like even with the conference last year, are you adding more stuff? You don't even need to do all that. You just need to do 1, 2, and 3. You just need to do 1, 2, and 3 in order to succeed, in order to win. Okay. So ask yourself, do some investigative work. I don't live with you, right? I don't come and just watch you as you do laundry as a method of procrastination, or wipe off your plants as a method of procrastination, or clean stuff, or micromanage your family, or fuss at your kids, or work in order to get away from feeling bad stuff. I don't live with you, right? So I don't get to hover and see all the ways that you do the things you do. Okay? But you know that sometimes I feel like this idea, this thing that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into is taking too long. So let me go ahead and go shift over here to do this thing. Let me go ahead and shift over to doing this other thing because it's going to make me feel better. Okay? Let me go ahead and shift into this new thing. Let me go pick this other thing up because I feel like this, what I put my heart and my soul into right now, is not giving yet. Hi, good afternoon. It's not yielding the fruit that I wanted to yield yet. So I'm going to go and find something new. I'm going to start a new project. I'm going to start a new plan. I'm going to add these new components to my business. I'm going to start a whole new business. Right? Instead of staying aligned, staying in that lane, we get a little glittery object syndrome and we start to say, this other thing over here will make it easier. Good afternoon, Bree. This other thing will be easier. This other way will be easier. Let me just go over here and do this instead. You a coach, but now you starting a Mary Kay business too, because coaching ain't giving yet. You got a consulting agency or a social media marketing agency, but now you're going to start a boutique. Wait a minute. And this is not to say it's not a God idea. This is not to say it's not a God idea. This is for you to do your own inventory. I got 5 minutes. This is for you to do your own inventory. Do your own homework. Your own investigative, know yourself homework. I got on one of my clients last week. Was it this? It was last week. Because there was a position that she needed to take on as brand owner, right? As owner of her practice. And I was like, listen, sis, this is for you to do. You know that, right? And she was like, yeah, I was really hoping somebody else is going to do it. I know, but you're the main event. You're the main event. What y'all look like coming to the Mamathon conference and somebody else is there? As long as God has breath in my body and health in me, I'm going to be right there pulling up, giving hugs, taking selfies, okay? We're going to be doing all the things, right? That's my baby. I'm honored to work with like the most brilliant superstar mothers who are literally changing the world, who are literally creating new cultures and new ideas, like these brilliance. And part of our brilliance is being creative and resourceful. And when we don't see what we want to see quickly, we will begin to lean in another direction to go find something else. And so I asked them, and this was not just a few of my clients. I saw it on social media where some people were like, you know what? I'm not going to be doing this anymore. I'm going to go over here and do this instead. Or I'm creating a pivot. I'm adding more stuff to my business, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And my challenge, my question to all of y'all today is this a good idea? It's just a good idea for you to do, or is this God? Is this God? Did God give you this download? Are you distracted? Are you impatient? Are you procrastinating on feeling something that maybe you haven't had to feel in a while? Okay. So the sooner we lean into these feelings, lean into these emotions, be okay with it. You know what? I stopped trying. I stopped trying to make it work. I stopped trying to pay attention like I used to. I didn't put attention into my business this year like I did last year. No wonder I'm getting this result. What? If you can sit with that thinking on a consistent basis, baby, you're going to be in a different lane. They won't be able to touch you. If you're willing to lean in, be committed to an idea, a project. Mamathon has been in Essence Magazine 6 times in the last 18 months. 6 times. What? The Mamathon Conference was just named one of 10 major events to come to in 2024. What? I committed to the project, committed to the plan. And I did not let every time it always feels hard. Oh my gosh. Not sure how this is going to work out. Oh my goodness. Got blocked out of my Instagram 2 months before my event. I can't even share with my followers. What? Event still sold out because I realized, oh wait, Chris, you're going to stop trying. Not now. Foot on the gas. Okay. So for all of you guys, if you just got here, hit the replay, Bree. It's been so good. Because I just want us to ask ourselves, if you were totally sufficient, would you do this? Are you making it more complicated than it's supposed to be? Are you adding steps where you don't need no steps? And number 3, are you procrastinating, feeling something that maybe you don't want to feel? I don't want to feel any fear, anxiety, disappointment, rejection. I don't want to get a no. So I just find more stuff to do. I put in more ideas in order to stall me sending that email, or stall me going for the ask, or stall me reaching out for that next thing. Okay, let's do that analysis. Let's do a checklist, do our own inventory. Okay, and say, you know what, girl, I see you. You're watering plants again instead of doing what you really need to do. Okay, so that's it for now. I have a call in 3 minutes with a nonprofit I'm really excited to connect with that works in educational advocacy. So I got to sign off, everybody. Okay, but if you are a brilliant woman leader who is working to embrace her influence-ness, your superstar-ness. You're working through navigating multiple layers of your life. You're like, Christina, I got, some of us are married. Many of us are mothers. I have my family management, my business management. I still have these really big goals that I want to accomplish, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to bring it all together. Okay. I would love to connect with you. We got 3 months coaching. We got 6 months coaching available to you all based on your budget. The mastermind is full right now, but it'll be open again after the conference. Okay. So just shoot me a DM. Let's connect. Even if you're like, okay, I'm not sure, but I want to be on the email list. Send me your email so that we don't lose track of you over the next whatever. But we're really intentional this year on creating some great content, interviews, masterclasses, and of course the Momathon conference coming up in October in Atlanta. Okay. So we want to make everything that we're doing this year a big deal. We want you to feel like you're a big deal. We want you to believe wholeheartedly in everything that God has put in your heart to do. And that, yes, in this current season and this current moment, it's possible right now. Okay. It's possible right now. So that is it for today. I love y'all so much. And we will be checking in maybe tomorrow evening. Let's go live tomorrow evening. I should be home from all of my antics. Okay. And I'll be sure to send out an email and everything to let you guys know when. Just excited to see how we're going to continue to serve you guys. And I will catch you all on Saturday evening for another live. Okay. Love y'all so much. Have an amazing day, and we'll talk to you soon.